Hi guys, how's it going? Jake Wilson here, and as you may be able to tell, I'm still getting over this rather nasty cold that's been going around, so do bear with me today if my voice is a little bit croaky. So today I thought we'd start essentially a new series, possibly, if you're into it, of videos that take a concept and follow the idea all the way through till we have a kind of end product of a line. Because I feel as though sometimes we come up with the concept and then we show the line and we don't show all the stages in between that can help us really understand the process or the creative decision making, because it's not always just clinical thought that gets us from one spot to another. Sometimes there's a little bit of jiggery pokery, shall we say. So today we're going to be looking at a line that we're going to derive from the diminished scale. So there are two types of diminished scale. One, the whole half diminished, and two, the half whole diminished. So these scales are built out of a kind of symmetrical, cyclical series of intervals. So the whole half diminished goes, as you might expect, a whole step, then a half step, and then it just repeats that. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and so on and so on and so on. And the half whole does the opposite. We're going to be using the half whole diminished because that's the one most often employed in contemporary music. This is often used as a kind of dominant sound. So just to be very, very clear, this is the F half whole diminished scale. So just to be really clear, if you were to put that all on one string, it would look like this. You can see really symmetrical pattern, and that's why you could play anything, play it up 3 frets and it works. Similarly, you don't need to obviously play it up 3 frets, you could just play it up 3 semitones in pitch space. So you could go and then play the same thing. That's all going to work. That's just a diminished arpeggio. I could have picked a better example there. Or maybe I couldn't, that's kind of clear, that's how it works. So some people call this the octatonic scale because it has 8 pitches in rather than 7. Now this means that there are only 4 pitches in the chromatic scale that aren't included. I bet they feel very, very lonely. Of course, that means we've got a lot of pitches to work from, and from this scale we can pull out a lot of familiar objects. There are major chords in there are minor chords in there, and there are diminished chords and various types of 7th chord. And because of this symmetrical nature of the intervallic construction, it means that they can all be almost transposed up a minor third each time and still fit in that collection of pitches. So of course this means that we can just take whatever lick we want and move it up a minor third and it still works. So one of the chords you can find in the scale are minor 7 chords, and obviously, the same rules apply. You can just go up minor thirds. Again, right, fine, no problem with that, like it, if anything. But I'm going to try to do something where we go up in minor thirds like that, kind of thinking about the pitch space, if you like, but we're going to have a descending line that connects to it. And in order to do that, I want it to all sort of fit in the same area and just kind of be interesting to listen to. We're going to start, again, it's all going to be in sort of F, or if you've been paying attention, it will also work over A flat, B, or D. But we're going to start in this kind of area here. So. And we're going to try to construct a lick that uses minor 7 arpeggios that follows that rule. So the first minor 7 arpeggio we're going to use is a B minor 7 arpeggio, and we're going to use this shape here. So you've got the 5th, the minor 7, the root, and the 3rd. So I'm not going to name each interval for all of the arpeggios here, otherwise we'll be here all day. But that's a bit too linear for me. I want to break that sort of sense of line up. So we're going to start with this, and then we're going to move on to our next arpeggio. So one thing I really want to do is I want to connect each arpeggio by kind of a really small interval. I want it to be almost voice-led in how I get to the next arpeggio in the sequence. So the next arpeggio in the sequence, if we're going from B minor 7, is a D minor 7, and we can fit a D minor 7 from our last arpeggio. Well, we can get to the minor third of the D by just falling a semitone. So we go, and I like that shape, so we're going to repeat it, the idea of going up and then falling down a larger interval. So hopefully you can see that we've come to that D minor 7 arpeggio shape. After the D, we move to an F minor 7. So from that D minor 7 arpeggio, we can go here. So it keeps it the same shape. So, and the next one, all we need is an A flat minor 7 arpeggio. And if we've finished here, we can drop down to minor third again. So the whole pattern, or the whole sort of line, if you like, goes like this. So if you transpose this line up or down a minor third, it'll still work if you're in the same harmonic territory. And so on and so on. And it's really, really cool sound if you do that. It's better for me though if you're using the line and you're kind of using those pitches, but then you break up the rhythm, so it's harder to hear the sort of rationale behind the notes. But at the back of your mind, you're sort of itching because you're going, what's the construction there? That really excites me. Sometimes when things aren't obvious, but they're still apparent, that's something that really aesthetically pleases me, and I'm trying to do more of it. So yeah, the way I'm playing it right now, it's just starting kind of anywhere. But if you put it into a musical context, you can really mess around with how it sits in the beat, and you can kind of displace things and sort of mess around with it and have a bit of fun. So it's quite hard to make this point that I'm going to make because I would, by necessity, need to crowbar it in to demonstrate what I mean. But I would like you to try, when you learn something like this, to really absorb it into your general improvisational language so that when you use it, it doesn't sound totally out of context. Try using it in part, or just kind of trying to connect it to other lines, whether at the beginning or the end of a phrase. I find that that's really important to try to make it sound natural in your own vocabulary. Of course, I've not exhausted all of the opportunities that this concept presents, and I would really encourage you to go away and come up with different fingerings and different ways to exploit this idea. So yeah, thanks for watching, and just let me know if this is the kind of content you'd like to see more of. I think it's kind of fun, and like I said earlier, sometimes things can go missing between the concept and the line that takes away the creative process, and I think that's where all the interesting stuff really is. As always, likes and comments are massively appreciated, and if you want to see more of this stuff, yeah, please subscribe, and yeah, check us out on all the social media sites. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff but want to go into really, really deep detail, you can check out my JTC products in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.